Madam President, the genius of America was a government designed, as President Lincoln so eloquently summarized, of the people, by the people, and for the people. I'll be rising periodically to address issues that affect Americans across our country and that this chamber should be addressing. This week, I'm using my speech to highlight the labeling of genetically modified foods. And this is truly a we the people versus the titans, we the titans battle, because citizens routinely poll very high numbers about their desire to know what's in their food and like the idea of being alerted when their food contains genetically modified organisms or GMOs. But that is not necessarily the consequence as something goes through a legislative process. Often the we the people common sense vision is lost in favor of pressures applied by powerful industries. And we're in the middle of a debate like that right now. This is really a debate about whether you believe that in a democracy, citizens have a right to know, or whether that right to know is going to be taken away from them. So, to summarize, you have many potential positive impacts of genetic engineering, and you have many potential concerns from genetically engineered crops. And so there's considerations that need to be balanced here. And some individuals hear that and they're not concerned at all, and they say, it's fine, I want to buy products that are genetically engineered, or I might like to buy these but not those. And others say, you know, I'm really concerned about a specific feature of a genetically modified crop, and I don't want to use my dollars to buy that crop and contribute to the problem I'm concerned about. That's why labeling is leveling the field. It allows those who are concerned to know what's going on. Honoring our citizens' right to know seems to be disappearing here on Capitol Hill because we have powerful special interests that don't want to let citizens make these judgments. The truth is, all Americans have the right to know what is in their food. They are buying food to feed their children. They have the right to know the ingredients so they can make responsible decisions. And providing information regarding genetically modified ingredients is a common sense way to empower consumers to make their own personal decisions on issues they care about on the food they purchase. Campbell's Soup has begun taking steps to voluntarily disclose on all of their soups whether or not the products contain genetically modified ingredients. And why are they doing this? They say they have a relationship of integrity with their customer. They want their customer to know full information about their products and let the customer decide what the customer wants. And they'll provide information about the type of genetic modifications and what they mean so that the customer will have enough information to make a decision. Like I said, there's advantages and disadvantages to GMO ingredients. Our federal government already requires the labeling of ingredients and basic nutritional information in order to protect the public and to guard against false product marketing. And these food labels tell consumers many things. Well, why do we require supermarkets to label the fish as farm-raised or wild-caught? Because our consumers care about that. There are implications of whether a product was grown in an artificial lake or whether it was caught in the wild. And consumers want to know and use their own minds to make these decisions. That's something about being in a free society. You get to make your own decisions based on disclosure. We make the information available. That's why today I'm introducing a compromise bill. A bill trying to bring this conversation to a common sense compromise. I'm introducing this bill today with Senator Tester, Senator Leahy, and it would give the FDA the authority to develop a uniform federal standard for unpackaged disclosure of genetically modified ingredients. Now, I've met with the industry groups, I've met with the pro-label groups, I've tried to find that area of compromise between the two, and what I found was a great deal of flexibility on the labeling groups. Those groups said there doesn't have to be an information on the front of the package. It's okay if it's on the ingredients list, on the back of the can or the back of the package. It doesn't have to be in supersized print. It's okay if it's in the same small print that the ingredients are printed in. And in fact, they're open to many different versions of how a company discloses this information, as long as the person can go to the store, pick up the package, turn it over, and quickly find out if there's a GMO impact. So these are some of the ideas that are a variety that are all acceptable to the labeling side of the world. One is, on your ingredients area, after your ingredient, you could either say it's genetically modified or just put in a code like GM. Doesn't take up much space. It's tucked into a long list of ingredients. Or you have several ingredients. You'd rather use asterisks. You could just put asterisks and then just say down below what that asterisk means. The ingredient is genetically modified. Or you could just do a phrase at the bottom. This contains or may contain genetically modified ingredients. So a simple phrase at the bottom. Or a symbol. Now, Brazil uses a symbol, and they use a T. So this is an example of using a symbol, a T, for transgenic. Any of these would be acceptable. Not all of them at once, just each of them would be fine. It will take effort for consumers to look and see it. It's not up front. They have to pick up the product. They have to look. It can be tucked into small print. But it gives the person who cares the ability to get to the bottom of the question. And then they can look up at the website for the product if they want, through a quick response code, and get more details. That range of flexibility, that's where the compromise can be, honoring citizens' right to know, while not taking up a lot of space on a package, or not doing anything on the front of the package that says this product is healthy or unhealthy or otherwise. It means that share of Americans who want this information, just like there's a share of Americans who want to know if there's high fructose corn syrup. There's a share of Americans who want to know if fish is farmed or free, wild fish, that they can, in fact, find this out. And this also addresses the big issue that the manufacturers have been raising. They don't want a patchwork across the country of 50 different states having different labeling laws. Our supply inventory doesn't work that way. You don't have a warehouse that only serves one state, and quite frankly, it gets very complicated, even more so here on the East Coast, where the states are all packed together than it does back home in Oregon. That's a legitimate concern. So their big concern about 50 different versions of a law, or maybe counties even having different laws, is addressed. I'm going to simply conclude with this understanding. Citizens have a right to know in a free society what is in their food. Let's honor that. And should the DARK Act, the Deny Americans' Right to Know, that passed out of the Agriculture Committee, come to this floor, many of us will stand up to fight it in every possible way. It shortchanges American citizens, denies them critical information, and takes away a fundamental privilege, if you will, in our society. And it strips our states. It's a federal overreach, and it's assault on consumer information and consumer rights. It's just wrong, and we will oppose it vigorously.